The blizzard started faster than anyone predicted. 1 minute, the highway was empty, but visible. The next, it was nothing but white. No horizon, no sky. Just headlights bouncing back snow, so thick it felt like driving inside a cloud. I was less than 30 miles from home when my car lost traction and slid sideways. Not hard, just enough to stop me across the shoulder. I put the car in park and waited. The wind screamed around the doors. Snow piled up almost instantly. My phone had no signal. The radio was nothing but static. I told myself to stay calm. Engines can idle. Help always comes eventually. That's when I heard the knock. Not loud, not urgent. 3 slow taps on the driver's side window. I froze. I leaned forward, squinting into the white. There was no shape, no movement, just wind and snow. I cracked the window slightly and shouted, asking if someone was there. No answer. I waited. Then the knock came again. Same rhythm, same place. I looked down. The snow around my car was untouched. No footprints, no drag marks, no signs of anyone walking up. I locked the doors. Minutes passed, maybe longer. Time didn't feel normal anymore. Then the tapping moved. Passenger window. Tap, tap, tap. Still no tracks. Still nothing in the snow. I shut the engine off to listen more clearly. That's when I heard breathing. Not outside, inside the car, right behind me. I don't remember starting the engine again. I only remember the car moving forward, sliding blindly until the white finally thinned and lights appeared in the distance. When I reached safety, I checked the back seat. The glass had frost patterns on the inside, hand-shaped. The blizzard warnings were already hours old when we got the call. A family had on tea checked in remote area. Single house at the edge of a snow-covered valley. By the time we reached the access road, the world had disappeared. Snow swallowed everything, no sky, no ground, just white, pressing in from every direction. We parked where the GPS said the house should be. There was nothing there, no roof, no chimney, no windows, just a mound of snow. At first, we thought we were off by a few yards. Then a few more. We spread out, probing with poles, calling out names. When we heard it, knocking, muffled, distant, coming from beneath, the snow came again. 3 slow knocks directly below our feet. We started digging immediately, hands first. Then shovels snow, packed harder the deeper we went, like it had been sitting there for years. Not hours. The knocking stopped. After several minutes, we hit something solid. A roof. We dug down to a window. The glass was intact, frosted from the inside. A face appeared behind it, pale, still, watching. We shouted, told them to stay calm. Help was there. The face didn't react, didn't blink. It smiled. That S, when the radio crackled, a voice cut through the static. Too late. We asked who was speaking. The voice replied calmly, we already checked that house. My partner shook his head, said that was impossible. We were the first unit out there. The radio continued. No survivors. It said. The voice matched dispatch perfectly. The face behind the window slowly raised a hand and pressed it against the glass. There were no signs of frost on it, no breath, no warmth. The knocking started again. Louder now, from deeper inside the house. From below the floor, we pulled back. Snow shifted under our boots. Like it was settling on its own, the radio crackled one last time. Stop digging. The storm intensified without warning. Wind howled so loudly, it drowned everything else out. Visibility dropped to 0. We were ordered to retreat. When the storm cleared, 2 days later, another team returned to the site. There was no house, no foundation, no debris. Just untouched snow stretching across the valley. Official reports said the address never existed. But weeks later, I found an old county map. There had been a house there once, buried by an avalanche over 20 years ago. The entire family was declared missing. No bodies were ever recovered. And every winter since then, someone reports knocking. The cabin was supposed to be empty. My friend had checked it 2 weeks earlier, before winter closed the road. No food, no power, just a place to wait out the storm. The blizzard hit hard. By nightfall, wind slammed against the walls. Snow buried the porch. Inside, everything felt wrong. Not dangerous, occupied. I told myself it was nerves. I lit a lantern and settled in no cell service. No radio signal, just wind and silence between gusts. Around midnight, I heard footsteps outside, slow steps, crunching through snow. I moved to the window. The snow outside was smooth, untouched, no tracks, no disturbances. The steps continued, circling the cabin. I shouted that the road was closed, that no one should be out there. The steps stopped. Then something pressed against the wall. Not hard, just enough to feel weight. I backed away. The footsteps started again. Closer, this time, slower, careful. Then they stopped, directly outside the door. The move. Instead, I heard breathing through the wood. Calm, patient. The lantern flickered in the silence that followed. A voice whispered from just outside the door. You forgot to lock it last winter. I hadn't. T told anyone I was coming. The storm lasted until morning when daylight came. The snow outside was perfect. Smooth, deep, No footprints, no signs anyone had ever been there except the door, which was standing open. The wind howled like a hungry wolf, and the snow just kept coming down. It had been 3 days since the blizzard buried our truck, turning the world into an endless, blinding white. Inside the cabin, the 6 of us were running low on everything: food, firewood, and, worst of all, hope. The only thing we had was an old shortwave radio, its crackle and hiss a constant reminder of our isolation. We'd been trying to get a signal since day 1, but all we got was static. Then, on the 3rd night, something changed. Through the endless noise, a voice. It was faint at first, a whisper tangled in the static. We all froze, leaning in closer. It wasn't a weather report or a rescue team. The voice was singing. A strange, haunting lullaby, weaving in and out of the static. It sounded old, impossibly old, and it wasn't in any language we recognized. We tried to call out, screaming into the receiver, but the voice just continued its eerie song. It felt like it was right outside, somehow carried on the wind itself. Suddenly, the singing stopped. Dead silence. Then, a new sound. A slow, rhythmic tapping. Not on the radio, but on the cabin door. Tap, tap, tap. Tap, tap. We stared at each other, hearts pounding in the sudden, terrifying quiet. The blizzard was the least of our worries now. Something was out there with us.